Hey tankers, and welcome back to World of Tanks with PR154, where we've got a job here to do today in the Tier 7 British medium tank Comet, specifically Chimera Personal Campaign mission Alliance-2.2 Whale Beach. Now, this mission requires us to immobilise 3 different enemy vehicles by destroying their tracks, but the tracking actually needs to be capitalised upon by your teammates, with the other primary condition being that friendlies need to be able to cause at least 250 hit points of damage to immobilise enemy vehicles. Now, this in itself is not a major challenge if you can track a foe out in the open, but for the honest completion, your team needs to go on to destroy 2 of those vehicles that you've tracked while they're still immobilised. Now, although it's not as mobile as its Cromwell predecessor, Comet still has the agility to get us into the E-line corridor, where we are squared off against an enemy super chaffy trying for the same crossfire position. Now, getting clear of supporting fire from their rearguard, we had the clear upper hand in this fight and managed to pick up our first of 3 immobilisations, but unfortunately the team isn't quite in position yet to do the follow-up fire necessary to progress the other mission conditions, and the Super Chaffy manages to slip away. Further pursuit of the Super Chaffy is stifled by flanking fire from a hull-down T-34-85, who will keep us under lockdown here until it either moves on or is destroyed. And this exchange of fire, we are quite evenly matched on gun handling, as we can see here, and although our Mark.II 77mm gun gives us better precision and DPM than the 85mm gun downrange of us, we started off in a very similar hit point position, and our turret does present a more physically penetrable area for the Tier 6 Russian medium tank. Turning our attention to the centre of town, things are heating up with the enemy KIWI-85 drawing first blood on our T-34-85M. In the meantime, the eastern town is holding a western shootout between my Comet and the enemy T-34-85. And despite best endeavours by dialing shots to minimum dispersion, neither of us can land a blow, even when T-34-85 tries to test the myth of firing premium shells to minimise the RNG. But bullshit is no match for tactics, and crossfire from a friendly MK.II forces them to reposition. With the 6th line uncontested by our team, the enemy KV-2 Ragnarok trundles forward and unleashes the Emperor's Fury on our VK-2801, and while the enemy SU-122-44 moves to dig us out of our position. Successive shots into the track immobilise it, and as we pull back to avoid fire from the enemy T-34-85, the Russian tank destroyer is left open to the VK-32M and T-78 and knocked out. And there's no time to celebrate, however, as Ragnarok piles on the pressure, landing an HE shell on us before being put down by the same crossfire that neutralised SU-122-44. And at this point, we've actually satisfied our primary damage condition and taken our first step with the honours. While enemy resistance fails in the field and eastern town, the battle grinds on in the city, with combined fire from the enemy VK-32M and T-34-85M unaliving our Jagdpanzer IV. Changing angles to avoid Dale's SU-100M1, however, the enemy T-34-85M catches a shell from the VK-31P instead. Positioned to cover the westernmost approach angles with fire, Dale's 77's SU-100M1 sends the enemy Type 58 packing. And with the E-line clear, friendly forces positioned to angle off the 3 line, opening up the enemy KV-85 to fire from our OI. The enemy are not giving up their position without a fight, however, with an AT-7 and T-150 squaring off against our AMX M445 and VK-31P. But combined fire and an overestimation of the French heavy's armour put another number on the board for the enemy. The contest of the 3 line did manage to draw the enemy T-34-85's attention long enough to enable more patient shot play placement from yours truly, and we put enough holes through the turret facing to silence the opposition. Now, knowing there's 3 enemy tank destroyers and a light tank still unaccounted for, we decided to do a bit of a test of our 6th sense indicator. And wiggling around, and in the absence of that all too familiar warning sound, we make our move to launch an assault from the 0 line. And as you'd expect, this is the moment we're spotted and fired upon by the enemy Super Chaffy and Excalibur, suffering the very same tracking damage that we're tasked to inflict on the enemy team. A quick repair gets us out of the crossfire, and as we attempt to lay gun on the enemy light tank, the VK-32M gets the drop on them. Resuming our advance with that disruption out of the way, we find another surprise waiting for us in the eastern town, specifically the enemy SU-100Y. As we line up for more tracking shots, the T-78 rushes the Russian, their vehicle then blocking follow-up fire from us for the left track. But we find a new line between the buildings and we shoot out the right for our 3rd primary completion. But the enemy SU-100Y is quick on the repair kit. T-78 eats a 130mm shell, but they ultimately get the upper hand on the Russian. The enemy Excalibur makes a high damage roll on T-78, weakened from their fight with the SU-100Y, but an exchange of fire with VK-32M leaves Excalibur's ammo rack looking considerably worse for wear. All primary missions are now complete for us, but we still need the team to destroy 1 more vehicle that we've immobilised. Now, we chose Comet for this mission owing to its high rate of fire and accurate main armour. However, As we are finding, the low 140 hit point alpha damage means that multiple shots are required to an enemy track form in order to knock it off. Now, upscaling to vehicles with larger calibers with higher module damage, however, it does run the risk of lacking the precision to target the track and could nuke an enemy vehicle before your team can aid your progress. Speaking of nuking enemy vehicles, OI is still exchanging fire across the 3-line. Its 10cm main gun sending enemy T150 back to the garage. As it goes for the reload, I'd like to send a quick thanks to Dale77 of the KIWI clan for sending in their perspective of the battle and allowing us to bring you the events of the city flank, including the final takedown of the enemy AT7 by OI once again. 2 enemy vehicles remain, thus we only have 2 more opportunities to throw a track for our teammates to smack. We switched to high explosive to maximise the confidence of outcome, firing at the rear drive sprocket of T29 with the second shot doing the deed. With the HE shells intentionally minimising physical damage to the T29, VK.II takes up the 11 hit point rounding error to hand us our honours completion. Surrounded on all sides and outnumbered 8 to 1, the enemy VK.II keeps their gun trained on the approach of the KV-1S, but the attack comes from the rear with multiple impacts of high explosive shells before our VK.II finishes its enemy twin with a ram. And although we didn't need the win or personal survival to meet the mission conditions, completing a mission always tastes sweeter on a win with all body parts still attached. Let's check out the results. So for our efforts, that was a level 1 mastery badge, placing us in the top 5% of players in Comet for that week. No epic or battle heroes medals to speak of here today, but we did get the bruiser medal for causing damage to enemy vehicle modules or crew members at least 5 times in the course of the battle, and we've also picked up the fire for effect medal for doing at least our hit points in damage. In this case, a little over 1500 hit points of damage inflicted on the enemy, and almost the same number in spotting and tracking assist. So we're quite happy with that result, and I guess a byproduct of really doing our darndest to play to the objectives here. Having a look at the team score, we have placed top on experience with hot on our heels Goose 900 of the OCD clan in the VK3001P and Dale77 of the KIWI clan coming in third. Honourable mention to Cavewetter 2020 in the VK3002M who was with us every step of the way through that battle, and Crablogger in the T78 who was just so essential in bringing the crossfire that enabled those enemy vehicles to be knocked out. Honourable mention to NZ Blades 001 of the Anzacs clan in the Tier 7 American heavy tank T29, coming away with over 1900 hit points of damage, unfortunately not quite carrying hard enough today. Having a look at the detailed report, quite a profitable game for us. Let's take that personal missions payout out of it for a second. That's still 28,209 credits that we've come away with. We didn't have a consumables replacement bill. We already had plenty of small repair kits there. Didn't have a huge ammunition bill. We only fired the standard stuff or high explosive throughout the course of that battle, and did have a little bit of a rare bill, but nothing too onerous. So always happy when you don't have to break the bank to achieve a personal campaign mission. So that's it from me today. Please shoot us a like and subscribe if you are picking up what I'm putting down, and we'll do it all again next week. In the meantime, take care out there.